I made this simple wood desk for my daughter's room, and I'm going to show you how to make it from scratch. It's Mindy, and let's get started. For this desk, I designed it using 2x2 boards, but I wanted to keep this super low budget, so I cut down some 2x8s that I had in the garage. You can always just buy 2x2s at the hardware store. So after sanding my pieces down, this is what it looks like. We are going to make 3 legs for this desk, and you'll need 2 short 2x2s and 2 long pieces for each leg. To the short pieces, we're going to add a pocket hole to the center of each end. And yes, I'm working in the kitchen, but the counter actually makes it super easy to clamp for these pocket holes. Once we have the pocket holes in both ends of the short piece, we add some wood glue to the end and then clamp that in place at a 90-degree angle. This is how it comes together, and attach it with a 2.5-inch pocket screw. For the sake of time, I'm going to leave all the measurements for this build in the description box. I will have a build plan coming out shortly, but I did have to make some tweaks, and you'll see why throughout the video, so stay tuned for those. So once we have one side attached for the short 2x2, we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and this is essentially a rectangle frame. For 2 of those legs, we're also going to add a third piece in the center, and you just measure up from the bottom till you get to the center of the frame and add that third board, also using 2x2s. I mean, pocket hole screws. Now that we have those 2 set up, we're going to attach them using a short apron. All that means is it's a wood piece that's going to be flush with the top of the desk, and I'm also using pocket holes to attach these. So when these 2 come together, they'll also have shelves, and it'll be one side of the desk. I did end up using a shorter pocket screw here just because I didn't want to risk cracking the wood, but you'll see later it ended up happening anyway to one of the connections, and I'm not sure why. Once I had the 3 legs assembled and all my apron pieces cut and pre-drilled, I used the same black paint that I painted her bed frame with that I made recently. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it below. And this is just a regular satin paint with some primer in it. If you don't want the wood grain to show through, you could also add an additional primer before painting. And this is actually a Dollar Tree foam roller, which I was pleasantly surprised by. So here is the desktop, and this is just a wood panel. You can find these at Home Depot or Lowe's. They come just like this, and you don't have to do any prep. I just sanded it lightly and added 3 to 4 coats of polyacrylic just to seal it in. I also did the same thing with these wood pieces. This is just a 1x10 that I cut down to size to fit flush with those shorter 2x2s, and this will become a shelf. So as you see here, to attach these, you'll want to clamp everything in place so it doesn't shift. And I do have some pocket holes drilled on the underside, which you'll see me attaching now. My daughter did agree on this two-tone desk, so that's what we went with. And here I'm also using these shorter pocket screws. You could use the long ones here because it's going into the 2x2, but I just decided to use the shorter ones and it fits really well. So here is that assembly with the two shelves, and I'm loving how this is coming out. Now to attach that third leg, we're using a longer apron, which also has some pocket holes drilled into each end. And you'll see in just a second the next little snag that I ran into, and I'm not sure why I got a little crack here when I tried to add the pocket screw in. I don't know if it's because I had so many screws into this joint, but I'll have to test out a smaller assembly before I put out the plans for this. So I had to put that aside because I was so frustrated with that and come back the next day. So what I decided to do is just add the apron to one side, which would be the front of the desk. And this side did not end up cracking like the other one, so I don't really know what happened here. If you have any experience with woodworking and you know why, let me know in the comments. So that second apron just ended up becoming a stretcher on the back side of the shelf in the center. And a stretcher is just a piece that connects the two legs together. So finally, to add the desktop, I decided to try these. They're called tabletop fasteners, and I got this tip from watching Matt on the channel 731 Woodworks. So shout out to Matt. And apparently, when you're using a solid wood top, the wood can expand and contract. So this actually helps it to allow the wood to do that without cracking. So here's how those are all attached. And the desk is done. I love how this turned out. I did hit a couple of snags, but in the end it worked out. What I will change is just I'll also add another stretcher right under the desktop just to give it a little more stability, but otherwise everything will stay the same. Look out for plans soon. I'll update the comments when I have those ready, but she is excited to have her desk all set up. You can see there I added her Dollar Tree desk organizers that I shared a few days ago, and we'll just need to get her a chair. Don't forget to check the description box for all the details, measurements, information about the wood I used, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. As always, thanks for watching.